Hello, everyone, and welcome to our next live session discussing a fair few things from the last week or 10 days when I was last went live. There has been a lot that has been going on. So, the first thing is the Hyundai IONIQ 9 launch and also a hybrid vehicle launch, the Initium. Even that's been launched at the same place last week at the Los Angeles Auto Show, and after that is the 2026 Honda Passport. Even that's been launched, and then of course Jaguar's rebranding that has happened. A lot of online discussion that is currently going on what's going to happen because Jaguar is gonna finally show their first product from a brand new lineup on 3rd of December. It's just gonna be a glimpse, but the actual sale is gonna start from 2026. So that is gonna be at the Miami Auto Show or Miami Fashion Show. So we're gonna come point by point to that, and also a lot of you have been asking me about my next daily driver. So I'm gonna answer a few questions about that too. But first, I'm currently I've just dropped off my test car, which was there with me, the Chevrolet Traverse. The review is gonna come out this week. Last week, the Buick Enclave review came out. So if you haven't watched that, make sure to go to my channel and watch that review first. Because I've done all four mid-size SUVs from GM's lineup. And I'm going to be even doing a comparison video of all four. So the Cadillac XT6, Buick Enclave, that is Chevrolet Traverse, and also the GMC Acadia. So which one's the better one out of all four? Because every car has something to offer. So I made a video compiling that. So that's also gonna come out this week with after the review of the Traverse comes out. So I've just dropped the Traverse and I've picked up this car currently, which if you see is a lot more luxurious, but it's an EV. So let me first show you a little tour of this car. So it is a Volvo, and let me just show you from outside too. It is the Volvo EX40. So it's got a charger instead of an engine. And in the front, really like the color of this car. It's a tan color, and on this sort of cloudy day, this thing really looks pretty good. And it's like a dual tone, so black and tan color. Let me show you in the back. Yep, a very simpler car that ways. So I'm gonna be testing this Swedish car this week. And look at this. This is like a hanging hook here. It can also be folded away. But yes, that also is possible. There's Harman Kardon music system in here, and then this is a very simplified version of the driver's display. Like it or not, you can't do much with it, but it's still a better way to use it. Less distractions, honestly. Go back, and then very simpler infotainment screen also. But anyways, this is for the entire week. I'm gonna get back with all the facts, figures, and all the testing numbers, charging times, and of course a detailed review. But this is just that I've picked up this car right now, and let's continue our discussion about the new cars that have been launched. Because first, let's begin with the IONIQ. Let me just adjust this properly. Right. So, hello, Brenda. Hi. I'm looking at the chat also while having a discussion. So if you have any questions, just feel free to write them in the comment section. Nice to meet you, Brenda. So let's begin the first car, which is the 2025 Hyundai IONIQ 9, which is a seven-seater, three-row SUV. It's got lots of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my phone, another one, and show you the cars first, because it's just easier to that way is get a glimpse of the car first, and then we can discuss, because it's it's got a lot more things going on the inside. So it's got like swiveling seats from the second in the second row. I see a lot of oh, my hair looks great today. Thank you, Neeraj. I've had a haircut finally. Yes, I thought I'd grow some hair and then try something else, but yeah, clearly I was frustrated, so I had to cut it off. And yeah, so let's begin with this. Is the Kia, no, sorry, not the Kia, that's the Hyundai IONIQ 9. So it's got three rows of seats, and what it does is, so the second row has basically electronically swiveling seats. So if you're in the second row, you and the third row of passengers, so you can basically have like a lounge setup where all the seats would fold around. And in terms of the numbers and figures, and yes, the interior layout itself is just super plush. And if you still want to get all the details, then you can go onto my website, which is called as c4cars.com. And on that, there is like news about all the latest cars, reviews, that all that's been coming on the channel. All that has been put up there. Even there are written car reviews about all these cars that I'm testing. So there are a lot more details also going on in there. But anyway, sorry, I just keep getting distracted. So let me just get back. So yes, this is the seat that I was mentioning about. So this is what the setup looks like in the IONIQ 9, and these seats sort of swivel. So this is an innovative feature where the seats would, yeah, swivel around, and then you can have interaction with the third row of passengers, and then in the middle there is like a big empty area. But yeah, the styling, I'm still not too sure about that, but look at the interior layout of this. So yes, it's a very plain and very, again, Hyundai kind of style, which is evident even in the other Ionics. But the actual car from the outside, again, sorry, I just keep getting distracted, and these are the swivel seats. So if you see, they've turned around, and this is the third row of seat, and this is the second row of seat, and that is the front of the car with the dashboard. Yep, so that's how you can arrange these seats in the second and the third row. Now when we come to the looks, so it's more like a Palisade. The footprint, it's quite long in that sense, but the back, I'm not too sure about that. What do you guys think about the back? Because it still looks very, I don't know, the old school Volvo, if you see that, like the Volvos which were there in the 2000s, they had these long lights in them. It's just that they don't have like an L-shaped ones or something. But yes, this thing reminds you of that thing, and it's also swooping down if you look at it, like, which is why you see the roof on the top. That's also visible, and then yes, it sort of squishes from the back with these lights on either side. But in terms of the facts and figures and numbers, so it's got two electric motors, 335 miles of range, which is in the most efficient form when it is driving in, and lots of space, of course. And then what else do we have in there? There's a 110 kilowatt hour battery, and it's 5 meters, a little over 5 meters long, this car. So yes, that's that. But anyways, it's gonna come out pretty soon. Oh yeah, yeah. Andrew, yes. The Palisade, of course, is much more reliable and much more spacious. And for some reason, yeah, if you're comparing it with the XC90, yes, it's still on another league, on a lot of factors, of course. But yeah, let's get to any other numbers that I'm missing from this. It's 2.3 tons in terms of its weight, and I'm pretty sure a lot of it is the battery and the motors. And it's got 620 liters of space in the luggage. When all seats are up, actually, when all seats are up, it's 620. Wow, that's impressive. And when all the first the third row seats are folded down, it's got 1323 liters, so it is quite a big car. Not bad. I really thought it was like a slightly smaller one, but space wise, nice. Hyundai has nailed it. And it's got a single layer dashboard layout, so driver's display and the infotainment screen is like a single, but inside it's divided into 12.3-inch infotainment screen and a driver's display. Then there is like voice assistant controlled by the artificial intelligence. Now, this we are discussing still the Hyundai IONIQ 9. So I'm gonna jump to the next car soon, but the first, so there are two drive options. One is the all-wheel drive and one is the rear-wheel drive. So the rear-wheel drive features 217 brake horsepower engine, and it's also available in engine and EV form. So it will be in two forms that it will be offered. And 95 or 2, okay. So here's the thing. So the rear wheel drive will produce 217 horsepower. The all wheel drive will produce 312 horsepower because it's got two motors, one in the front and in the back. And there's one more performance variant of that. So that will produce 434 horsepower. 434 for a seven-seater, yeah, a mid-size SUV. I think it's more like a full-size SUV. So it's gonna be quite big because 5 meters is a very, very long car for sure. And the recharging infrastructure, again, that's, I am gonna figure out that too, because I have driven so far the Ford Mustang Mach E. I've driven the Nissan Ariya, and the charging has been a bit of a mixed experience. If you don't have your own private setup, like a house with a charging setup in your parking area, then yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a trouble. I have had to go around a few places to find a charger, and then again, right kind of charging also. So like the CCS, the AC charger, DC charger, and Type 2, Type 3. So there are like a lot of chargers. I'm gonna be making a video also where I'm gonna be explaining you exactly what are the different types of charging cables, the outlets, and how you can find the charging infrastructure related to that, because on the app it shows you those different sort of names and numbers and everything, the charging capacity, and then how do you decide which one to go for. So I am in the process of making that video too. So this is an electric car, which is the EX40. So if some of the viewers who've just joined me right now, so this is the car I am testing, the EX40, for this entire week. So I'm going to be charging it also. I'm going to be getting those views also. Now, I'm just going through some of the comments too. Yes, they are cheaper to maintain. Volvos, not so much, of course. Yes. and Mahindra Scorpio Black. I'm not too familiar, I'm sorry, with the Indian market. So I wouldn't be able to, but yes, I have had the opportunity to drive the Scorpio 10 years ago when I was in India. At that point of time, we used to own one of the cars, like the Scorpio. And honestly, that was a revolutionary car in many ways. So it still remains to this date. But I really liked the first gen because it was radical. It changed the way Mahindra was building cars, and it actually put it into that mid-size SUV space with the Scorpio. So a few people who don't know about Mahindra Scorpio, that is like the mid-size SUV Indian brand. Mahindra is an Indian car manufacturer and they produce Scorpios, and that became one of the most, in some ways, a cult car for this generation, for the previous generation. And yeah, it's genuinely a very good car, but I still prefer the Gen 1s because I don't know, it was just very new and radical, so I would prefer that. Now the next discussion that I want to do, and it's like the most debatable discussion that is currently going on the internet, is the Jaguar rebranding. I'm gonna first show you the logo because it's sort of mixed. Even when I saw the logo for the first time, I was quite taken back as to what was going on at Jaguar. So that is the Jaguar. Yes, that's a car brand. So don't confuse it with yeah, uh, some other brand. And then there is like variety of colors also in terms of the brand. And then there is also this, which is, I'm guessing this is the sort of logos that are going to be sitting on the front and the back of the car. And I hope it's not in golden, because in black maybe it looks better, but in this I don't think so. It's not something that. And then this is the electric era Jaguar. So yeah. Now the thing is, this rebranding, if you are following Jaguar's journey right now, they are transitioning into complete EVs. So they'll be only making electric cars. That's about it from now on. So bye bye all petrol engines. The F Type is one of the last cars currently, which is there now. Even that might be phased out soon once Jaguar jumps into full EV. So their plan is to go completely electric by 2030. And yeah, that's something which I don't know is a right move right now, because if you see, a lot of brands are cutting back on their EV plans, and it's something to do with the fact that first, the infrastructure is not um getting up there with the pace of the manufacturers at which they are producing those EVs. So unless and until the EV structure is figured out, I don't think the EVs have a huge opportunity to compete with the gas-driven cars. And I've only wondered, why can't manufacturers, just get along board and then start putting up chargers, adopt the space, let's say at a petrol station, and then put their own chargers. So at least when they start putting their chargers, they know what their cars want and what type of infrastructure their cars would need, and the software and everything that's needed for that. So it will be easier to put if the manufacturers install those chargers at the station. So that way is, you will have, let's say in your area, if there are like 10 gas stations, then at least two will be adopted by a particular manufacturer, and then they would put their chargers. That would also work with a few car brands otherwise. But the reason why Tesla works very well is the fact that they put their own infrastructure, they invest into that also. So it's not just selling cars, but also putting the chargers, and that will actually boost the use of electric cars. And which is why you see everyone wants to have a Tesla. Ask anyone which cars do they want to have, as an EV, their first answer would be probably a Tesla, because that's what they've heard, the first one. So I think if something like Tesla, everyone starts following by installing the chargers, pretty sure like EVs can be adopted after that. But otherwise, yes, there's a lot of range anxiety. There's also a lot of planning. I usually do a lot of planning when I'm reviewing cars, especially because I have to go around at a distance and then I'm driving and I'm constantly thinking like, oh man, I've just dropped in like 10%. I've used up my charge by going one way. Now I'm going to use another 10%, and then that's like 20% gone. And then if you switch on, let's say, heating and then all the other auxiliary power supplies inside the car, that's again gonna suck up all that power. So yeah, that's like tiny things that keep changing, and then you have to keep looking for chargers. So if you have to go, let's say, 400 kilometers one way, then you probably have to think about charging somewhere. And currently this the EX40 is showing me about 385 kilometers of range at 95% battery. So I'm guessing it's about 400 kilometers. But yes, 400 kilometers is, if you have to go long distance, you have to plan. And if you find a charger outside of the city, because some of the cities are quite small, so they sometimes don't have the infrastructure for charging. And the chargers that are provided with the car are the slow chargers. So they are usually 7 or max 10 kilowatt chargers, and those take forever. And also it depends on the outlet from the plug point. So if the outlet does not support, then you cannot charge even at 10 kilowatts. Because the last car, the Ford Mustang Mark E that I had, when I was charging it at one of my uncle's house, so he's got a house, a proper house, and there I had plugged the car, and the car was charging for the entire day. And guess how much did it put back into the battery pack? It was 2%. 2% for charging 6 hours. And then it turned out that it was charging at 1.2 kilowatts. That's about it. So it's there is a lot of wide range of charging timings, the conditions, the weather, all of that decides how quick your car will charge. So go to a gas station and then it's just so much more easier. 2 minutes. And the next thing is that instead of the EVs, if we have downsized engines, those are actually working quite well. I don't know if you have looked at the new 992s, the Porsche 992s, the GTS hybrids. They have a turbocharger, and it's also got an auxiliary fan inside the turbocharger. So what it does is it spools up the turbochargers, so that if there is a turbo lag, which usually happens initially with the engines that are turbocharged, so that just removes that. So it's got a 20 ampere fan on the inside, and that spools up the turbocharger and keeps it even active at lower RPM. So basically the lag is gone, and then now you have a I I know that the whole unit now becomes very complicated when you have a turbocharger, and not that turbochargers are very reliable. I've had a BMW 3 Series before, and it had a turbocharger. So it was a 318i, and it was a turbocharged one, and that turbocharger failed at 38,000 kilometers. And the power drop is like sudden, and it just feels very underpowered once the turbocharger stops working. And then you have like 1,000 different warnings on the dashboard after that, and the car is just after that into a limp mode. So luckily when that happened, I was very close to the BMW service center, so I was just able to drive it back to the service center and just give it away. And then it took about a week for them to replace the turbocharger. And Luckily, the turbocharger was available for that car. Otherwise, I was going to wait for good 3 weeks for the charger to arrive, and this was back in Dubai. So in Dubai, a lot of dealers don't keep parts with them. So every now and then, when something goes wrong, like this sort of big part that fails, then they have to order it from, let's say, Germany, and then it gets shipped and then comes to the the place where it's going to be replaced. So it takes a whole 3 weeks of cycle for the parts to arrive, and then it can be replaced. But yeah, that's the sort of thing, complications, but it's still not too bad compared to waiting for every single day depending on the use of an EV. So yeah, that's my rant about the EV cars. Not actually rant, but there are a few suggestions. I've time and again spoken to a lot of because I keep going to these car launches and car events. So there are product specialists who are also available on the spot. So those product specialists, I keep, giving them suggestions. They are like, yes, we do think about that. That if we start putting in the infrastructure ourselves, then it's gonna be a lot more easier for people to adopt EVs. But I think there is some sort of a holdback, and I think even manufacturers have a second thought about the EVs. So which is why the next promising fuel is the hydrogen. So hydrogen seems like the next fuel that everyone is jumping onto. Toyota was already there. Honda's has made one car before. The name of that car? It was about almost 8 to 10 years ago. It was that back in 2013 when Honda revealed that car, and then Toyota has been making the hydrogen cars, and now Hyundai has, come up with one more, and then BMW also has plans to launch one too, in partnership, obviously with Toyota, because Toyota is leading the hydrogen development right now. Now, yes, coming back to the Jaguar rebranding, I honestly think we should just give them time to launch their cars, because they've given a glimpse of their car, and also there is the first look of their cars on the road when they were testing it about a couple of weeks ago. I've put up all these articles on my website also. The website name is c4cars.com. I'm going to put it in the description also after this live session ends, so you can have a look uh, at this. And yeah, so they are going to be giving a first look of their car on the 3rd of December at Miami fashion show fashion show and that's where they're going to be revealing the car. So let's see. This is not gonna be the final car. This is just the first look of what the brand is gonna be about, because everyone's like, oh, the logo is so bad, and it's some of them are appreciating that and some of them are not. Then I get it, because Jaguar represents a brand that makes some of the iconic cars, like yeah, the F types, the E types. So it makes sense that people are sort of pissed off a little bit by what the rebranding has done to the brand, but it's definitely not a fashion brand, is what I can tell you. So give them some time, which is about 10 days from now, and we should be able to see what they are up to. Now, the last topic that I want to discuss is another car, which is the 2026 Honda Passport. Well, yes, Passport. Honda has designed that again, redesigned it completely and gotten it into a new form now. And it's still got the 3.5 liter V6 engine, but now instead of the 9-speed automatic, it's got 10-speed automatic, the newer gearbox into that, and it's got the all-wheel drive. But the problem is that it does not have a solid axle. So I'm not too sure if it's going to be a fully capable off-roader, although the pictures say something else, like this one. Obviously, this is under controlled environment, and I don't know how many takes they've done this to get this sort of shot for the car. But yeah, and the back, I have this thing like, what is with everyone trying to get into this sort of shape? This is like the more newer versions, like the Toyotas and the Lexus, and which was the other car that recently got in the same shape? Yeah, like everyone's trying to just. Defender started this trend where it became boxy, and then not to forget the Santa Fe. Oh, the Santa Fe is also coming next week. The new Hyundai Santa Fe for the review. That's going to be coming in next week after that. And then the week after that, there's another new car, which is the Nissan Kicks, the 2025. So yes, lots of newer 2025 cars are coming up on the channel. So make sure to subscribe uh, to the channel, and yeah, keep all the notifications on so that whenever that video drops out, those reviews, so you can be the first ones to have a look at it. But yes, let's see the interior. Let me see what sort of interior. The interior is still very, very, what do you call, the Honda types. Like, if you see, it's still got the same layout for the dashboard and the screen, and then this is the air conditioning controls here with some cup holders. And look at this, for an off-roader there is like shift by wire instead of the shifter. So yeah, truly modernized the car. But yeah, it's got independent suspensions in the back, and it's also got the digital drivers display on this. Then it's got the 360-degree cameras. I don't know if these are going to be available across all the models, like the trims, or they're just, this is just an optional extras, because that's usually the case, or if it's only available in the top trims. And then these are the seats. It all looks good in the photos, I'll be honest. It's only when you look at it uh, in person, it's when you can actually judge the car. So when the rear seats are folded inside this, so it's got 84 cubic feet of space. So yeah, and then 44 cubic feet when the third row of seats are also up. What else do we have in the Passport? It's got the Google's Android operating system, and even on this Volvo there is Android operating system. There is, even in all of GM's products, there is the Google's Android operating system. I like this fact because the manufacturers are not wasting time into building their own systems, because sometimes it's a bit too crap and it's very slow, and then some of the times it's just all over the place. At least when they start putting in Google's system, you know the interface. Like for example, this car has something like a tablet, so you are used to all the icons and all the familiar logos and stuff that you see on your phone or on the tablet. So it's easier, and plus it's also a lot more faster in terms of the usage, because these are the optimized operating systems. So it makes sense to just put the systems from Google itself. And then you have the maps also, because some of the systems that I've tried, they have like inbuilt maps and they are so slow. They make life very difficult, so it's very difficult to use them also inside the car. So you don't have to waste all this time into understanding the newer infotainment system. But yeah, those are the sort of weekly discussions and what all cars have been launched. And in terms of the appearance of the new Passport, yes, Honda has completely changed the styling. It's gone more retro than keeping it more up to date with the current design lineup. Maybe this is the new design language. So they've shied away from like the split headlights now, where the DRLs are on top and the headlights are at the bottom, which is again pretty much every major manufacturer has been trying out. So on this, they have like straightforward lights on top and then a very clean looking front end. So this is more rugged look in the front also. And then the rear, as I said, yeah, that's very generic is what I would say. It goes well with this color combination, but yes, it's definitely a lot more generic in terms of the appearance. But let me show you the website also, where you can follow all these updates. So this is the one. It's called C for Cars. You can go in there, and then there you see these are the latest updates. There is also headlines. Yeah, let me know. I would love to hear your views about the website. And then, as I said, we've discussed this, the IONIQ 9, and then we have the Passport also that has gone there. Let me just open that in a bit. Gosh, how long have we been having this live? It's 36 minutes. Wow. Okay. So there you go. This is the Passport. And then yeah, they've had like different setups also for this. And also I wanted to show you all something else inside the Passport, because there was something that reminded me. And then look at this, very ambitious, I would say. Looks pretty cool in this color combination. It's more of an orange, bright orange with the black roof and the sides in the back, rear with the wheels being black again, the front end being blacked out gray. So good use of color combination on this trim though. But yeah, again, that's going to be launching quite soon, but it's only going to be available in the second half of 2025. So there's still a long way to go for that Passport. But immediately in the first half, what you can expect is the 2025 IONIQ 9. And yes, as I said, next week there's going to be the new Jaguar reveal of their new cars, how they are going to be looking, how they are going to be shaping the future with the EVs. So we'll get to see that, and then I'll pick up some more news from this week, and then we're going to be back next week for another live session. But till then, if you have any suggestions, if you have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the comment section. If you want me to make any other videos, any helpful videos, understanding any car system, let me know that too, and I will make sure to include them and try to make all those videos with the regular reviews too. And these lives are going to continue flowing also. I'm just going to make sure that I become much more regular with the live videos, so then we can have every, or like a one set day where we come live and then we can have a discussion. So yes, feel free to put down your questions in the comments, and I'm gonna see you next week with the new round of latest news, next car for my review, and also any other discussions that I pick up from this week in the comment section. Anyways, I shall see you in the next video, whichever it is, the review or the live. Take care everyone, and make sure to share, subscribe, and also like the video. Bye.